You know, the etymology of a lot of terms, phrases and idioms in current parlance in the English language are of a maritime origin. Some of them are pretty obvious, you know, sailcloth, mast, mizzen. But some of them take a little bit of mansplaining. Posh. It's an acronym. Port, out, starboard, home. That pertains to navigating the Thames River. London, as you may know, is divided by the Thames. The north side of the Thames is the well-to-do part of town where Victoria and David Beckham live. So when you're on your way out, down the Thames, the north side, the posh side of town, was on port, the left-hand side of the boat, and it was on starboard, on the right-hand side of the boat, on your way home. Port out, starboard, home. Square meal, 3 square meals a day. That's an interesting one. Apocryphally, that's because Lord Nelson had a tradition on his ships to serve his crew meals on square plates. And they'd get 3 a day. 3 square meals a day. Limey, the pejorative term for the English, that's because they ate limes to stop getting scurvy. True story, based on fact. I like the cut of your jib. You know, and there's your obvious ones like on an even keel. Shiver me timbers. Ahoy. High and dry, all at sea. Batten down the hatches. True colours, to show you true colours. It's a naval one. What that's about is the Spanish. So when you went into battle, you would fly the flag of your nation, your colours, and to confuse the enemy, the Spaniards used to fly the flags of their enemy, or a false flag. That's what Cindy Lawpole was talking about in 1983. She served in the Navy, I think, in the 70s. Yachting's quite popular amongst the pop fraternity. Lead singer of Duran Duran, Simon Le Bon. He's daffy for it. He's actually sailed a couple of Fastnet races. And it's for that, amongst other reasons, that I'm frankly a little bit surprised that Duran Duran don't have more of their work included in Yacht Rock canon. Eric Clapton loves boating. Between the devil and the deep blue sea. Now there's a bit to unpack there. Now the devil was the name given to the longest plank in the hull of a ship, the keel. Here's a diagram. So if you were between the keel and the deep blue sea, being keel-hauled, that wasn't ideal. In fact, the devil's business was caulking, resealing the seams between the ship's planks and the aforementioned devil. The devil will find work for idle hands to do. It's the devil's business. It's a devil of a job. Told you there was a bit to unpack. Taken aback is being a little bit surprised by something, isn't it? Now that's because when there was a sudden wind change, a surprising wind change, the sails would get taken aback, pressed back against the mast. All this is true. I'm not bullshitting you. Catastrophe. That's because of catamarans. Which are an outrage, a disgrace. Monohull enthusiasts like me take a very dim view of multi-hulls, especially catamarans, and often we'd abbreviate the word catamaran to cat, and we would place an apostrophe after the word cat to denote the abbreviation, and that apostrophe was referred to as a catastrophe. Shit! That's another one. It's an acronym again. Store high in transit. So they used to transport manure, you see, and it was labelled SHIT, store high in transit. Because if they didn't, it would get wet and create methane, which was a fire hazard, and that wasn't ideal. Oh look, the sun's over the yard arm. Now the yard arm was the foresail, square sail at the front of the ship, and if the sun was over it, that meant it was the time of day that it might be appropriate to have a little tipple. Still no wind. It's a bit sad. Feeling blue, or having the blues. That's got nothing to do with the musical genre. That's because if a ship's captain died, they would fly a blue flag and sometimes paint a blue line around the hull of the ship to indicate that they were in mourning. Swipe right, and ghosting has a maritime derivative of some description. Let me show you the ropes. Let me literally show you the ropes. Freezing your balls off, or freezing your balls off a brass monkey. Now, a brass monkey was or a monkey was a metal ring, it was made of brass, and they would pile their cannonballs into it to keep them from rolling around on the deck. Now, the ring was made of brass, and the cannonballs were made of iron. And when it got cold, those two differing metals would contract at different rates, and sometimes as a result of that the cannonballs would fall out of the brass monkey. It would happen in cold weather, and that's why when it was cold they said that they were freezing their balls off a brass monkey. I'm at the end of my tether. You know what that's about? That's all about anchors. Now the anchor winch here, the Dutch used to call them the bit. B-I-T-T. So if you're at the end of your anchor chain, you're at the bitter end. Dutch courage. That's another one. The Dutch used to like to get a few beers in them before they went into battle. To get some... I'm sailing pretty close to the wind. YouTube, television, they're sailing terms. Derived from the word channel. Streaming. Well, we're making good headway. Drizzle. Drizzle's probably a yachting term. Sounds it. Hillock, malarkey, current affairs, you know, the currents. Let's try another tack. Now if you tack too often, in yachting circles it was frowned upon. People would say it was a bit tacky. And in that instance, you wouldn't try another tack. Slush fun. Okay, so the ship's cook would broil up meat, and the lard would rise to the surface of the pot, and he'd skim it off, and he'd store it away. It was quite valuable because it was so rich in protein. When he got back into harbour, he would sell it off, and that was his slush fund. When your ship sails in. Here's the channel marker. That's encouraging. Quite buoyed by that. Can't think of any others, but if I do, I'll put them here. Yeah? As a text. Superimposed in post. Oh, that one's good. Next time on Peter Robin. It's episode 7, preferred pronouns and nomenclature. I'll expand on that a little bit, but I've just got a knock, so I'll put it. I'm going to walk you through why many people in the sailing community prefer to refer to their vessels as a she or a her, and I'm not going to be apologist about it. Mind your step. And I'll give you some tips on how to name your boat, why you shouldn't rename a boat, and some handy pointers on typography. Fonts, font colour, drop shadow or no drop shadow, serif or non-serif, cursive or italics, bold, semi-bold, oblique, italic or Roman, kerning, spacing, leading and what have you. It's going to be a veritable rabbit hole and I look forward to descending into it with you. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken the liberty of drawing up a Venn diagram for you of appropriate and inappropriate names for vessels. Kevin Spacey is probably inappropriate. Seaman Staines is inappropriate. Oh, like and subscribe and everything, will you? Thanks.